Are you kidding me?
Can I kick it?
Step back and kiss myself.
Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
All right, welcome into the basketball show. I'm Logan Mantz alongside Matt Dick. And how was your winter break?
Long and kind of boring, but, it's nice to get back in the swing of everything. How was yours?
It was all right. I got to watch a little basketball.
Yeah.
I ate a lot for sure.
Definitely. Freshman 15, kicking in for me a little bit over that break.
Yeah, the winter break 15, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
All right, starting in the NBA, Cavs got blown out by the Raptors, and the Raptors are looking really good. They're second in the East, and DeMar DeRozan is playing All-Star level. You think this is the best Raptors team they've had?
It's going to be close. When they had T-Mac and of course Vince Carter, my bad.
Yeah.
Vince Carter, they were definitely good, but I feel like this Raptors team is well enough to go deep into the playoffs. I just don't know if they're going to be able to knock off the Cavs or the Celtics if they face up with them. But they're second in the league, like you said, in the Eastern Conference, 3 games behind the Celtics, 25 a game for DeMar DeRozan. He's definitely playing at an all-star level. Lowry, only 16 a game, 7 assists. He does a good job, he knows his role. And then, of course, Serge Ibaka, he's just a monster. 29 and 11 for him. They're doing a good job. I definitely think they could go deep in the playoffs, like I said, but I don't know if they just have that it factor that can get them to the finals.
Yeah, the trade deadline is February 8th, and they got a lot of young talent. They got DeLon Wright, really good point guard, Jacob Poeltl, OG Anunoby, and Fred Van Vliet, and all those deals are pretty inexpensive, except for Norman Powell. So even if they think they're not a championship-level team, they could probably get some good deals out of their young, promising talent.
Definitely, and that's what you got to look at. That's how they got Serge Ibaka from the Magic. They traded some of their younger players and got a good veteran that's been deep in the playoffs and knows what to do and knows his role. And that's one thing that you got to look at is experience, and that's why the Warriors, I believe, are such a good team. They got to look at. They have lots of experience, and they're still growing. And the people that they've drafted smart. The Warriors kind of remind me of when Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker were all young, but they still had people to draft like Kawhi Leonard coming in, and they still did a good job. So definitely think this Raptors team is definitely someone to look at in the next 2 years to kind of be a finals team if, other teams don't progress as other people think.
And then, not talking about a team, but Victor Oladipo, not a guy we expected to do a whole lot this year.
Yeah.
And he's 9th in the MVP voting, so...
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Last year, traded to OKC. That's how the Magic got Serge Ibaka. And last year only averaged around 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 44 from the field, and 36 from 3. And then now he's took a big jump. If you saw his Instagram post, he posted how much he's improved in the offseason. He got some ripped abs, buff, and now he says he can jump about 3 inches higher, which is crazy to think about when he was in the dunk contest, I think his second year. And now he's averaging almost 25 a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 49 from the field, and 41 from 3. So he's doing a great job this year. Indiana Pacers are 21-20, so not the best record, but still winning. And they actually graded the Pacers offseason as an F when you trade away your centerpiece to the OKC, but they're actually doing pretty good for themselves, and they have Sabonis and him to build around. And of course, Lance Stevenson's doing a good job too for them, so they're definitely a team to look at. Maybe not, in the next couple years, but if they keep on improving like this, I think Victor Oladipo would definitely be an all-star level candidate.
Yeah, it's amazing when you get to shoot a lot more on a different team when you don't have rust to take up. But it's kind of amazing what the Magic, they drafted Oladipo, second-round pick, and obviously lost that young talent. And just going back to their history, in the 95 team, they had Shaq and Penny, and then that team got dismantled from free agency. And 2009, they had Jameer Nelson, Dwight Howard, mainly Dwight Howard. Team got dismantled. And then you bring in Oladipo, and I think he played there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was the best for the Magic, but he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think he just needed to grow a little bit more.
Him and Alfred Payton and Vucevic were definitely going to be a pretty good, three to build around. Just nothing could really click. I think they all are more ball dominant, and so that is kind of, not very good. But when you're on the Indiana Pacers, don't really have options. He's doing a good job for, what he has. I mean, Owen was shooting 50% from the field, so definitely, you got to applaud him, how he's taken strides and taken a great leadership role on this Pacers team.
Yeah, it's great. And he put up like 47 just a couple nights ago. And yeah, talking about talent in the NBA, the prospects, I should say, coming into the league. This is a great year for college basketball and great young talent, and the NBA should be excited what they got coming up. Got like Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Ayton, Trae Young, Mo Bamba, Mikal Bridges. Who do you see to make a huge impact or the biggest prospect coming up?
Well, since I'm an OU fan, I'm going to mention the big name Trae Young, leading in 2 statistical, things in points and assists, and the first player to do that through a first half of the season in Division I basketball, which is crazy to think about. And a lot of people are considering him the next Steph Curry, kind of underrated, but rated, because he's on right now. I looked at a mock draft. He's only projected to be number 20 in the draft. So that's kind of crazy to think about when he's doing this well. But you also, players like this, when you have like a Jimmer Fredette, for instance, he averaged almost 30 points a game in college, but is now playing overseas in China. So you got to kind of look at those when people ball out in their college era. You got to kind of, see what kind of team he's on. And I mean, apparently he's on a pretty good team if he's averaging 10 assists, and they're 9th right now with 13-2. Another someone that I love watching is DeAndre Ayton. 20 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 1 assist. He's 7-1. He's playing the forward position right now. 13-4 record for Arizona. They're only ranked 17th, though. So right now, they're doing a great job, getting wins, but something isn't clicking very well for them. But he's definitely going to be, I believe, a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. And then, of course, like you mentioned, Marvin Bagley III for Duke. 22 points, almost 12 rebounds, and almost 2 assists. 14-2 record for the Blue Devils, and 7th in rankings. So he's doing a good job for Duke. Duke has definitely established themselves as the best. One of the best, if not the best, men's basketball in history.
I think this draft is great if you want an all-star center or small forward. Because DeAndre Ayton, obviously you said 7'1", 7'5" wingspan, averaging 20 points, can step out, hit the 3, just like Mo Bamba, 7 foot. He's got a 7'9" wingspan, averaging 11 and 10 and 5 blocks per game. He can really shoot the ball, not at a really high percentage, but he could still step out and make you have to guard him. And then for small forwards, you got obviously Marvin Bagley, probably going to be the top recruit, top name, probably go to the Hawks or somewhere, averaging 22 per game, 11 rebounds, freshman from Duke, 6'11". I mean, you're almost talking about a center for him. And then you got Mikal Bridges, terrific defensive player, a 3-point specialist, averaging 45% from 3-point arc and 6'6" wingspan. So if you're wanting a top-tier center or small forward, this is a draft to trade up in and get someone good.
Exactly. And when you mention Mikal, he's playing for Nova and they're ranked number 1, so that's definitely something to look at when you're leading your team to wins. And because right now college basketball has been getting tougher. I mean, not as tough as it used to be when players stayed 4 years in a row. They kind of teamed up, but still, I mean, it's tough to play when you're making that jump from high school to college. But you got to look at someone that has leadership, and he definitely does. He's leading his team to the number 1 record in the men's basketball. And, they every team, has some talent, and someone that was supposed to have some talent but got injured early, of course, is Michael Porter Jr., which is kind of sad to say. He's out of Mizzou, and he hasn't got to play but one game. So let's see if, he continues in college hoops or tries to declare for the draft and, maybe like a Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons type situation where he has to rest another year and then dominates. But you just gotta, you never know what's gonna happen with these players, and I wish the best for all of them. You like to watch your favorite players and from your favorite teams to go and dominate in the NBA.
And talking about Michael Porter, he has several reports that he's coming back in the next month or two. He wants to play for Missouri, so I'd like to see him back. And if you can, SEC is pretty good, and if he can come back and average a pretty good amount, you're talking about probably a 7th round draft pick. To explode him into the top 3 or 4.
Exactly, and people are comparing him to like a LeBron type situation, and that's what you got to look at. Is sometimes the player doesn't get to play, and like Ben Simmons, they let him rest for a whole year, and you see what he's doing in the NBA. And he's leading his team to a winning record for the Sixers for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to look at that, and you got to get healthy, and maybe you don't try to come back so early from an injury like that. But, if you want to declare for the draft this year, you definitely got to try to do something, for the NBA Combine, maybe show out on that. But other than that, these draft prospects aren't as deep as last year, but I definitely think that they're easy to compare to people, and you love to watch people just ball out in college hoops.
And this would be the first time someone that gets hurt and only plays one game to get drafted in the top 10. If Michael Porter were to not come back, I think the only one to only play less games than him, or more games, Kyrie Irving, to still get drafted in the top 10. I think Kyrie played 10 games in college, somewhere around there. So that'd be interesting. A guy, he only played one game. I think he only played like a couple minutes that game, scored 1 point.
Yeah.
To get drafted in the top 10, really haven't shown anything.
Yeah.
Thus far.
He was drafted number 1 overall, so that's crazy to think about when you don't get to play. But like you said, you gotta look at the player and see if he can play a game, and if he impresses you, you obviously want him.
So that's we're going to wrap it up here. You're watching the NBA basketball show. I'm Logan Mantz alongside Matt Dick, and we'll stay tuned and get another episode out in the next couple weeks. See ya.